way done with this tank. I think the background is always the hard part. This is a 20 high tank. And I did a hybrid sort of background. I didn't want to do foam. So I did cork panels. But I didn't want just cork panels, so I used silicone on all of this because I was going to do a waterfall. And I didn't want to chance the hot glue not holding up to that, because I've never tested hot glue with water features, or trying to hot glue bigger pieces of cork, because I don't think that would work, especially to hold up to the pressure of stuffing it with sphagnum moss. So this left side is all cork mosaic, although it's mainly one big cork piece with some smaller ones next to it. And the big cork piece is being the bulk of the waterfall, just a little gentle waterfall running down it. Wanted to do waterfall for a while. It's advised not to do it in early tanks, and I agree with that, but I've built a bunch of vivariums at this point, so I have earned my key waterfall. So then the rest of the background is the cork panels, and then end pieces and cork pieces that I also have stuffed some sphagnum moss wherever there was space to stuff in between. So that also holds my bromeliads in place and holds this piece of driftwood in place, which I think will stay there. I'm gonna have to work the drainage layer and the substrate barrier around it, but I think I have a plan for it. I think I'm just gonna cut it, take the wood piece out, because it's wedged in there with sphagnum moss, so I can remove it. And I'm gonna put in the hydro balls and hold them up with the substrate barrier, and cut a little X in the substrate barrier so that the wood can go all the way down to the bottom still, I think. See, that works. The pump is behind that foam, which is, technically it's called a substrate barrier from Josh's Frogs, but I'm not using it like that. I've wedged it in behind the cork so that I can get to the pump for maintenance. I didn't build like a shaft for it, so I have to be able to get to it underneath. But it just worked out really well with the piece of cork that I had. I'm gonna put Christmas moss on top of the foam, and it'll cling to it and grow in, and it'll always be wicking water, so that should hide it before too long. I might see if I can tuck it a little bit further back, but the pump is back there. So we're making a lot of progress. I still need to do the vent. The cord for the pump comes back there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna glue fruit fly mesh along here, so there'll be a little bit of a hole in the back. So that makes my vent area smaller, but I may try running an air line on the front where it points down the glass, like maybe attaching it in here, I don't know, I'll figure it out, and running like an aquarium air pump to vent, to have air actually blowing out the front glass. A friend of mine has tried that, and I will credit her if it works. So that's where we're at today. So as usual, I have forgotten to video every single step, but what I've done here is I've put hydro balls in behind. I had this rock that had been in the top of my pond, and it had grown this wonderful, I think it's a species of liverwort, all over it, along with some creeping jenny that had grown sort of into the liverwort and dirt and stuff that had stuck to the top of it. So I took down my outdoor pond this year, but I loved the rock and the stuff that was growing on it. So I brought it in and I sort of drowned it for about a week, so it was completely submerged, because I wanted to make sure there was no terrestrial bugs or anything living on it. And then I've had it in a bin, mostly filled with water, for about 3 weeks now, and I have not seen any evidence of any other life forms. So we should be good on that one. And I've used it, I put a piece of egg crate underneath it since it is sitting on the glass, just to be extra cautious. Probably not necessary, but since I didn't have any substrate underneath it, I wanted to be sure, because I didn't want to use any sand in this, because I didn't want to get the sand in the pump. And then I wedged the substrate barrier underneath the rock. This is the substrate barrier that came with the waterfall kit that I bought from Josh's Frogs. I've not used theirs before, but it seems to be just like a thin weed cloth, and obviously I need to fix it a little bit. I've been playing with my driftwood placement. And then I put aquarium gravel in the pond section, and I've got it filled up enough against the foam that's back there that I've now squished Christmas moss on, and especially with all the reflections I've got going right now. Okay, let me show you. Yeah, see how you can barely see the foam unless I zoom in on it. It sort of disappears behind the moss. And as the moss takes that over, it should completely disappear. But I can still sort of squish it down and get the pump out from behind there if I absolutely have to. So here's hoping that won't be more than like, once a year or so. And then I had forgotten how absolutely massive the piece of Mopani that I had in their 10-gallon grow out tank was. So as I've started destroying that tank, I have put that in there. And so I've been playing with the other placement of this piece of driftwood. So that's what I've got going right now. I'm going to finalize the driftwood piece, and I've got the pump running, you can see, because I want to make sure that I had it set up so that the water would be deep enough for that, while also obviously not swamping my dirt. You can see the water level's about here, so all of the dirt will be behind the rock and up on top of the hydro balls. And I just need to add substrate and plants and leaf litter, and then we should be good to go get these frogs in here. This has been, I want to say it's been over a week, maybe 10 days since I did the background at this point. So there's definitely no smells. There's definitely no off-gassing going on. Abundance of time, way more than needed. But the pump was delayed and I had to wait 8 days for it, and it just came here yesterday. So I let that run for 24 hours to play with it. And now I'm satisfied with how it all works. And I'm finishing this off. So I've got it finished, and I have the frogs in a clean deli cup with a lid on and a paper towel that was completely dampened with chlorinated water, and then I misted the inside of the cup so they would stay nice and damp while I took apart their other tank because I wanted the wood and some of the plants out of it. And they haven't figured out they're free yet, but they're in their tank. And here is all put together. I'm pretty happy with how this came out, actually. I'm really happy. Okay, there's 2 out. Now we just gotta get the last little dude out and I can take the plant out. Yeah, look, more ledges for you, plants for you. These are small frogs, but they can jump really far. They're very active, and so I really wanted them to be in a bigger than a 10-gallon tank because it just didn't seem like a good permanent home for them.